If you would like to access TalkAbility for the visually impaired, please visit our Facebook page.
Down syndrome e etsahala ha lesea le bopa copy e nngwe ya 21st chromosome. Down syndrome e etsa khulo ya mmele e diehe, e etsa tshebediso ya kelello e fokole, hape e na le ponahalo e tobileng ya sebopeo sa mmele. Empa jwale ka motho o mong le o mong, ho molemo ho ba le lelapa le lerato, tlhokomelo ya bongaka e nepahetseng, dithuto le mesebetsi ya matsoho. In honor of that extra chromosome that distinguishes Down syndrome, it is fitting that we have two guests to welcome today. We have Vicky Giuricich and her mother Maria. Well, welcome to the show, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Vicky, you like modeling. Why is that?
I love modeling because it is my dream, and
You love the stage.
yes, I love the stage. I am a drama queen, and
So you just love attention.
I love drama, yes, because drama is the best thing that I do, and I sometimes perform, and I did what?
Vicky's always loved to be on stage since she
Always.
was little.
I think for everyone, just to get an idea of how amazing you are with this modeling, let's show them what you do when you're modeling.
Okay.
You look really beautiful there. That's so amazing.
Thank you.
Now I saw the drama as well. When you said you love the
Yes.
drama, I saw all that. You even create drama on the catwalk.
Yes, I do. And to mention, I make the dress with Isabel Lato. She is a one fashion designer.
So do you also design some of your clothes as well?
3.
And so when Vicky and her brother were 8 months old, you attended the World Conference on Down Syndrome. What did you want to achieve by going there, and what were your expectations?
So when the twins were born, I was caught unawares. I had learned a little bit about Down syndrome at university because I was studying towards a degree that's in the medical profession. And but I did not know sufficiently how to handle it or really how to deal with what it was being presented to me at that point in time. So we left Vicky and her twin brother with my parents, and we went off to Israel to attend this conference, which was absolutely amazing. The two most important things that we got, the one was that inclusivity was very important. Now, we need to remember that Vicky's 21 years old. So 21 years ago in South Africa, kids with disabilities were being educated in separate schools.
True.
And they said to us, she has to be educated in a school with regular children so that she learns how to interact in a real, regular world, not in a world that's specifically just for disabled children. So that was the first thing. The second thing that we learned from them was that she needed to learn how to read as soon as possible.
Okay.
And they taught us how to do this. So she was actually reading before her brother. At the age of 3, she could already read spot words.
And why are those two aspects important?
Really because, as I said, we live in a regular world. So I think it's important for children with disabilities to behave appropriately. And then also because the reading forms the basis of everything else. We had to create words for her on cards. So basically what they say to us is that long before a child learns how to read, they can tell you that you are sitting outside a store simply because the name of the store in that image in their mind is already that word. So, you know, you don't need to say to your child, we're going to be going to whatever store that afternoon. As you drive up, they'll go, oh, Mom, are we going to that store? So Vicky learned cat, dog. And it wasn't that she could read cat, but in her mind, that picture was cat, dog, you know.
Yes.
So in the beginning, we would do it with the picture at the back. So we would show her the cat and we would say cat. And then eventually we would stop showing her the cat
picture.
and we would just show her the picture.
And so Vicky then ended up going to Brescia High School.
No, it's Brescia. It's at Brescia School.
Brescia House.
Brescia House School.
Brescia House School.
Correct.
Okay, I see. Oh, I keep saying high school.
As she got closer to high school, she needed to do things like English and maths separately with her facilitator because she was then lagging behind compared to the other students.
Okay.
But right up until matric, she did things like domestic science. Is that what it was called, Vicky?
No, consumer studies.
Consumer studies.
studies.
She did consumer studies with her class?
Yes, and art specialist and PE at Brescia.
LO you did with them as well?
Oh, yes.
So those subjects she did with her class right up until matric. She, of course, did not write the same matric that all the other students wrote. She wrote her own separate exams that were set by her facilitator. I think one of the things that really made me look at things differently was when the first school that accepted her in Edenvale, the convent, when they said to me, we're really keen to have Vicky here, not only because we feel we can teach her, but we feel she can teach us.
And of course, Maria, what you're saying is correct. That's exactly what's something that I've always said. If inclusivity could start at the beginning, even the other kids, they also get exposed, they also get to learn. Even when they are older, then it's not a shock if they meet anybody with a disability. And so that's the thing about disability. You don't have to meet all the disabilities. Once you meet one of them, then your mind is much more open, even when you're an adult, to understand that, okay, a disability does not mean that a person cannot do 1, 2, 3, or they cannot be interactive with us.
Absolutely. I think I like to look at it as differently abled. Not
Yes.
disabled, differently abled.
Of course. I think now I would like to show everyone else some of the other things that Vicky does, especially her life and what she likes. So let's watch
Yes.
all.
My name is Victoria Giuricich. I am 21 years old. I am a young lady with Down syndrome. My parents believe that the best way for me would be if I could attend mainstream schooling. What I love about it, art, because I could be creative. Cooking is my favorite thing. I love to cook, and baking and consumer studies. Sports, I did tennis and netball and dancing. My facilitator is Lauren Vanitsky.
My name is Lauren and I'm Vicky's facilitator. We learn on a daily basis how to manage schedules and timetables and how to become independent. We also cover money and time. These are very important topics for people with Down syndrome. She teaches me on a daily basis to wholeheartedly believe in yourself regardless of any obstacle or challenge that you have to overcome.
And Vicky, I see you dancing with a ball there. What dancing are you doing?
That is rhythmic gymnastics.
Yeah, Vicky's doing very well in rhythmic gymnastics. And in fact, we're now looking at her maybe competing for South Africa possibly in the Trisomy Games or even in Special Olympics.
And what type of tips would you give parents to practice when raising a child with Down syndrome?
I think be open to all sorts of different ideas. Explore the internet. There's a lot of help out there. Join associations. We got a lot of help in the beginning from the Down Syndrome Association.
So it's one of the most beautiful things to actually be open to, be flexible, be open, and live to experience all of it. You'll never know what's going to come out of it. Ha re khutla, re tla tswela pele le Vicky, hape re thole monyetla wa ho ithuta ka batho ba nang le Down syndrome. Re ntse re bua le Vicky le mme wa hae Maria. Ba ntse ba re tsebisa ka mathata a amang bana ba nang le Down syndrome. Vicky ke o mong wa batho ba le hlonolo hobane yena o na le educational facilitator e leng Lauren. Lauren, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Rainer.
Please tell us about an educational facilitator. What is it? What does it do? What does it mean?
All right. An educational facilitator is somebody who facilitates education. I was very involved in Vicky's education going through school. I adapted her curriculum for her. I met with the teachers on a daily, sometimes weekly basis, just to see what line of education we would go down, and just to see that and to discuss that it would be beneficial to Vicky and that it would be manageable. Yes, indeed. So it is basically looking at Vicky's needs and looking at her style of learning and adapting the curriculum for her.
On the inset, you speak about schedules, money, time. Why is that so important?
So obviously all of our days and our weeks and our lives are revolved around schedules and time. And it's something that Vicky does need to work on. People with Down syndrome learning about schedules and time.
Oh,
People with Down syndrome also like to know what's happening. There needs to be a structure. So it's always great for Vicky to have a schedule in front of her to see what needs to be done at what time. So we're working on time because meshing time with
I am
what...
not good.
Not good at telling the time.
Yeah. So that's what we're working on. But yes, really just schedules and time are something that everybody's lives revolve around, and Vicky's life very much revolves around that too. So if we could get her on point with all of that, that would be super.
Plus, she's involved with so many things.
Indeed.
I'm sure
Thank you.
they don't want you to be late on some other things.
Yeah.
Definitely
To
not.
juggle everything, yeah.
And unfortunately, the other thing that she has not learned to manage yet is money.
Money, yeah.
So working out change is a real challenge for her.
Yes.
So
Correct.
now you're teaching how to count it or how to identify it.
All of the above.
Both.
Counting, adding, subtracting, working out change, working out tips, all of that sort of stuff. Identification we've got sorted.
And one of the things that happened when Vicky was still at school at grade 11, she struggled with self-acceptance. Tell us a bit about that.
I think that what happened is Vicky was becoming very active on social media, and she was beginning to see that a lot of her peers were doing things different to what she was doing and doing different things to, were doing things that she wasn't being invited to. So she was starting to see that there was a difference. And it was very important for all of us to help her on her journey to becoming self-aware, because once you're aware of who you are, you're able to move forward efficiently.
And Maria, as a mother, when that happens, how did you react to it and how did you assist?
We had, as I said to you earlier, been very open about her having Down syndrome from when she was little. But we then noticed that as she got older, she kept avoiding the issue. So if we mentioned anything about Down syndrome, she would go, I don't know what you're talking about. That's not me.
I don't have that. I'm not a Downy. Yes.
Yes. And Lauren and I then had a meeting and we said, how are we going to deal with this? We got a whole team approach again together. We got a psychologist on board. We brought the school counsellor in. And it took probably a year of us working through that.
Almost 2 years,
And she came through it.
Yeah.
So much so that I think, as Lauren said, it helped her to then work on other strengths. And she discovered part of what the school encouraged was that she should show the school what she was good at.
Yeah.
And they gave her that platform. So she was allowed to do her contemporary dance in front of the whole school the one day. She was allowed to give a talk, a motivational talk, and we suddenly discovered that she's really good at standing there on stage and talking about what she can do and what she can't do. And from then onwards, she was all systems go.
It appears to me that a lot of what she does and what she's involved in is to actually drive her to a point of independence, right? Where she could be an independent human being by herself.
I think in terms of Vicky reaching independence, that's obviously always been our long-term goal. We've always tried to let her do things on her own, so we've never jumped in too quickly to do things for her. And even nowadays, where she likes to play on people's emotions, and she'll say, please help me, or please serve me, if we're serving ourselves. And I will go, no, you can serve yourself. And very often people out of kindness will step in and do it for her. And I'll go, no, I actually want her to do it on her own.
Yes.
It was the same thing when she was little. If her brother climbed a wall to go walking on it, I would stand back and
I'll do the same.
she would try and climb the wall, and she may have stood there and battled, and somebody inevitably would come and say, oh no, don't do that, or would put her on the wall, and I'd go, no, I want her to do it herself.
And that's, of course, the thing as well. Inclusivity does not include always stepping in for other people, but it means actually to support, because those are two different things, and people also don't get that, because when we are becoming part of the society, we are not saying step in, pull my wallet out for me, put on my belt or something. Support me, wait for me to take as long as I can in front of the cashier, as long as I've paid the cashier and live with my stuff. That's still okay.
Indeed.
Re na le tsela e telele pele re ka ba le setjhaba se kopaneng. Tony o re qoqetse hanyane ka bophelo ba hae. Ha re shebe mona.
My name is Tony. I love my sisters, 2 sisters and 1 brother, and my family. I love them all. I don't lie because I be honest. I doing South Africa athletes. I done 100 meters, then 400 meters, then 200 meters. Javelin, shot put, and discus. I love different people. I see people stay at me. You're not upset. I know that inside. I love different people.
Tony there speaks about one of the things that are some of the existing misconceptions with people that have Down syndrome or any type of disability, because he says people stare. What misconceptions as a parent have you come across that people would have about Vicky?
Often people will think that she cannot do things by herself.
I can.
So they will often step in and try and help, whereas she doesn't need help. She will do it, but she will do it slowly and at her own pace.
It goes to show that in life, when there's inclusivity and when there's support and there's extended support from the society and the community, anything is possible with any person. And I think Vicky's life is the evidence of that. Ha re khutla, re kenyeletsa Magda Lawrence ho tla bua le rona. Yena o sebeditse ka Down syndrome dilemo tse 26. Re ntse re bua ka Down syndrome. Jwale re amohela Magda Lawrence ho tla bua le rona le yena. Magda o sebeditse mekgahlong e mengatanyana ya Down syndrome. Hape ke mme wa Cornell e leng moshanyana a nang le Down syndrome. Welcome to the show, Magda.
Thank you so much, Raina.
Magda, from your perspective, what are the special needs for people with Down syndrome?
Right, Raina. The special needs that I see for persons with Down syndrome are that they're born with low muscle tone, that they struggle with speech and language impairment. So obviously, specific attention needs to be given to that, to give them more time in different settings where they can have more time to react and understand things and have more explanation, easier language at school, etc.
Something that a lot of parents are still doing even today, where they try to keep their children away from other people. They hide them in their houses.
Yeah.
And by doing that, they are inhibiting them from actually having a proper development.
Exactly. I think if we can encourage people to integrate their children and the same chances that you give as a parent to your other children, just give those same chances and attention to your child with Down syndrome and with your child with disabilities, then I think that would go a long way,
So Vicky has had consequences the same way her brother has had consequences. and in exactly the same way. So if there was time out for her brother, there was time out for her. And I think that teaches the person with Down syndrome on how to learn or how to behave appropriately, and it also enables them to learn.
What type of social consequences are there when parents hide their children and do not allow them into the public?
I feel that the child's personal growth would be stunted. I feel that they wouldn't be able to find out who they are as a person, and they wouldn't be able to develop who they are as a person if they were hidden from society and hidden from finding that, really.
And I'm certain with what Vicky does with her life.
Exactly.
Yes, you, Vicky. What she does with her life in terms of being on the run walk.
Yes, catwalk.
Catwalk.
Runway.
Runway. Yeah, I was close. The runway. I think, doing the catwalk, of course. And
It's the same.
it's the same.
The runway and the
Same,
catwalk.
Raina.
Yeah.
Okay, I apologize.
Fine.
And by doing that and by actually being involved with that, I'm certain there's many parents with children that have Down syndrome that have seen her. And how has that impacted on other parents?
Absolutely. I think that's one of the reasons why we're so happy to have Vicky in the limelight, and we're happy to have people staring at her, so that they know there's huge potential for their children, and that anyone can reach their milestone, whatever it is that they set their mind to.
And have you had parents come up to you trying to ask for assistance and all those type of things? Because I think, again, our privileges are not the same.
What I have had is I've had a number of people who've been pregnant with children with Down syndrome who have approached me and said, we've been given this notice, and in fact, with the one couple, they had the weekend in which to decide whether to abort the child or not. And I said to them, look, I would like you to come around to my house and meet my daughter, because there's nothing that I'm going to be able to say to you that's going to make you change your mind. And they came around and they met Vicky, and I'm very happy to say that that child was born and is living today.
Vicky's not just a model, she's a role model, and I think that that's so important, and that's why we're also so happy for her to be in the limelight and in the spotlight, is to show the world that everything is possible, and that with God's favor and with His grace and with hard work and with
And
reaching out.
mercy and love.
Indeed.
Mercy and love.
And opportunity, that there really is possibility.
A role model and a maximum model.
Indeed.
I mean, the things that she teaches us all the time
Daily.
that we really have not perfected.
Yeah.
I'm sure you noticed how when she walked in here, she greeted everybody. She shook your hand,
Yes.
which none of us did.
Yes, of course.
You know?
Yeah.
So those are the things that she teaches us.
Always. I am learning, so I'm glad that I met you, and I'm very glad to meet all of you people here of the camera, men, ladies, and thank you for coming.
Vicky, this is not your show.
Oh, God.
She's looking for a job in that field, though.
I am.
It's encouraging to see and to hear about the life of persons with Down syndrome in this sense, because I think those are the stories that we don't hear. These are the stories that somehow they remain elsewhere, but they don't come out. And I think that's what creates so many misconceptions around the disorder, because people then would start creating their own imaginary stories and start believing in that. However, to hear this, it's been a very beautiful thing to hear, and it's been a pleasure. And I want to thank you all for coming. And Vicky, thank you for sharing with us your life story today.
You're welcome, and thank you for letting me come here, and thank you to meet you people, ladies, and camera people. Thank you.
Re ke se re bale taba ya hore kgethollo ya batho ba bang e kotsi setjhabeng kaofela. Re hloka ho aha Afrika Borwa e re sebeletsang kaofela. Bua le rona mane ho social media. Lebitso nna ke Reina Moloi, and we talk ability.